Hey everyone, it's Carrie here. So, have you ever felt bad about asking for money or about charging what you're worth? Or have you ever been in a situation where you feel like you're giving and you're giving and you're giving and you're not receiving anything in return, and at the end of the day you just feel like you're not thriving financially? Because if you feel like this, then do not worry, because I think so many of us feel like this. And in this episode, we are joined by the UK's leading success and happiness coach, Alexandra Watson, who helps women deal with this all of the time. In fact, she's been helping women for the past 16 years to actually thrive in business and start charging what they're worth by sharing her blueprint for success and confidence. And in this episode, we're going to be talking all about how you can start actually charging what you're worth and feel good about it. So Alex, thank you so much for joining us.
It's such a pleasure, Carrie. It's great to be here. Hi, everybody.
Thank you. So many people struggle with actually charging what they're worth. And
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's because so many of us start businesses because we want to do what we love and we want to do something that makes a difference and that helps others. And I don't know whether there's this little part inside of us that says, hang on a second, you shouldn't be charging for this, you should be doing it all for free. I don't understand what it is, but why is it that we're doing this? Why is it that so many of us don't value ourselves enough?
It's so true. I mean, I think it's more women than men usually, I find anyway. And it seems to be that it's great. We get so excited about setting up our own business. It could have been the dream you've had for a long time. And what I've found is that you can get everything organized. Women are great organizers and multitaskers, but when it actually comes to deciding what your fee is going to be, I think 9 times out of 10, women are underselling themselves by at least 70%. And it is across the board. It's in all different industries. So even if you're a coach, a therapist, a stylist, any kind of financial advisor, any kind of industry, women are undercharging. Now, why do we do it? You're right. It is totally attached to our feeling of worth. For some reason, we can be the most highly qualified people in the world, and goodness knows we go for those qualifications. That's another story, that people overqualify for what they do. We seem to think, hang on a minute, if I charge this amount, I am going to put a lot of people off and they won't want to pay it. And if they don't want to pay it, I'm not going to have any clients or customers. And that is exactly the wrong thing to do. What you need to do instead is charge your worth. Now, I can tell you the formula for that in a minute, but why we do it, I think it's definitely because women are so soulful. We really want to help people. We have the genuine, heartfelt need to serve people, which I think is a massively big deal and a wonderful, attribution. And I think women make great business owners if they could just get this bit right. Because we do go in and worry so much about what other people are thinking, when in fact, if you are charging what you're worth, you attract more of the right clients and customers. If you don't charge what you're worth, you're attracting the wrong customers, the ones that drive you crazy, the ones that will keep you poor. It's just not the right energy. So I would say, in order to actually attract the right people to you authentically, you've got to authentically price yourself.
So how do we do this? How do we step into being that person that kind of can charge, where we charge what we're worth and we feel good about it?
Sure. We've got to stop thinking so emotionally about money. We tend to attach every emotion that we have, and mainly fear, with money. So when we come to charging, say for example you wanted to charge £50 an hour, you would say to yourself, okay, gosh, that's quite expensive, because you're actually attaching a lot of fear and emotion to it. First of all, you do not want to charge per hour for what you do. That's rule number 1. If you are charging per hour for what you do, even if you're a therapist who has a practice or a coach who has a practice, and you usually have the practice business model is per hour, you have to change the practice model into a business model, because the practice model will burn you out anyway. You can never really charge enough per hour to ever make what you want to make. That leads me to part 2, which is decide how much you want to make in the year. Now, I usually get the usual answer from people who I ask this to is, £50,000 if they're feeling a rather brave. And if they're feeling super brave, they'll say £100,000 a year. Now, I think, okay, that's fine. I think there's no right answer, by the way, but what you should be doing is thinking, okay, you've got to balance realism with the dream and thinking big. When you can bring those two together and not let one rule the other, because if you dream too big and you say, I want to make 2 million in a year, sometimes it's not going to happen. We don't want you going down the disappointment route. And similarly, we don't want you going down the I'm staying small and safe route, and I want financial security, which means it's not going to happen. I only want to make £50,000, if that, and I'm not greedy. That's what a lot of women say. I'm not greedy. Money's really not that important to me. I only want what I need. And 50,000 is a massive amount of money, and that's fine for me. And I say, but you're not stretching yourself. You're not challenging yourself. You're not being authentic with yourself. So here's how you do it. Here's how you actually think about and arrive at the authentic amount of money for you. What I want you to do first, this is step one. I want you to think about how much you want to earn in a year. So write that number down, okay? And then I want you to do number two, which is write down the amount of money you would absolutely dream of having in a year. Okay, that can be any money. So think big, put whatever comes down, no limitations. Okay, and then the third bit is to take that initial income and the second income and go straight down the middle. So it's not the income you initially thought of, which is usually based around fear and too much realism, and it's not the dream income amount either, but it's the one straight down the middle, which is authentically you. It's challenging enough, but also it's far away from your realistic, fearful self, and it's a happy place in the middle. Now, the other thing about this is you can use that exact same formula to decide how much you want to charge for anything that you do, because it's an authentic way. I don't make up the numbers, you don't make up the numbers, each individual makes up their own numbers, and they'll be different for everybody.
So once people have got those numbers, how can they start to actually go out there and start feeling good about charging it?
Well, you've got to think about, say for example, you said the middle price for you was 100,000. You've got to look at your business and say, what does £100,000 look like in my business? In other words, how many packages do I need to sell? How many programs do I need to sell? How many products do I need to sell? And you break that down into quarterly amounts, and then into monthly amounts, and then into weekly amounts, and then into daily amounts. So you can look at your whole income spread out across the year, and you can see how that can work in your own business. And then you simply decide on the package pricing so it's coherent with and in line with how much you want to earn.
So what about where people are charging for their services and they feel like it's too much, or they have that worry that you talked about earlier, where you were saying that sometimes people feel like if they put out this price and then no one takes them up on their offer, they're stuck because, oh my gosh, I put something out there, no one wants it, what do I do now? So what happens with that? Is there any kind of strategy or tip you could give for getting yourself in a really great mindset so that you don't have that fear of that happening?
Absolutely, it's a great question. And the way around that is to firstly absolutely authentically believe that what you are offering is worth it. That what you're offering is absolutely the best solution for your particular customer or client. And you've got to have a heartfelt feeling for that, so you know it's the best possible solution that they can have right now. You've got to have that going on. You can't not think it's good. If you're producing something and you don't think it's great, it doesn't mean to say you need to do a load more qualifications. You just need to have somebody else look at it and judge it for you, or you need to improve upon what you've got. Then with that heartfelt authenticity, saying hand on heart, this is the best solution for you right now, you go out there and you just have to get your nerves together and wait for your first yes. Because when I teach a particular style of enrollment, client enrollment for people, all I say to people is when you are saying how much your package or your product is and you're feeling a little bit nervous about it, all you're waiting for is your first yes. And when you get your first yes, you think, oh my goodness, somebody said yes to me. Now, when somebody said yes to you and they're buying it at that price, You don't need anything else. You've got your yes, you've made your first sale at that price. That's all you need to know. So you go on to your next yes, and then your next yes, and then your next yes.
I absolutely love that. Alex, thank you so much for your tips. They're so powerful, and we all need to kind of step into being more confident, I suppose, about what we charge and knowing that we're worth it, and just owning it, owning that we can charge that much and that we are being the best we can be. So thank you so much for those tips.
Pleasure.
For all of you, I would love to know what you think. Do you ever feel bad about charging for what you're worth? Or do you feel really great about charging for what you're worth? And if so, what are your tips? What has really helped you? I would love it if you could head over to the blog and leave a comment. And if you want to find out more about Alexandra Watson, then check out her website, which is alexandrawatson.com. She's got lots of amazing stuff going on, so definitely check her out. And I'll also put a link on the blog so you can follow it through there. But thank you so much for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.